Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by the Transact Card, Align Life, Brain-Based Health Solutions, Chiro HD, Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, the IFCO, and 100% Chiropractic. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 534 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Clarke Williams. And if you want to hear a story about how to make a difference in people's lives, stay tuned. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Today we have Clarke Williams. This is episode 534. And I'm really excited because we're going to be able to talk about some things that we were chatting about offline. And one of those is the diversity, but also the inclusion of chiropractic working together. And I think that when we get down to it, everyone has a story. And we're going to tell Dr. Holly's story here shortly about how she got into chiropractic. But I think it's vital for people in this profession to realize that we're more alike than we are different. And I think that that's really a big takeaway for people once we get to talking today. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about being yourself and honoring yourself in all things that you do. But before we get into Dr. Holly's story, I want to let you know the big why. Why do we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle? Well, first things first is freedom of speech, the First Amendment. We've never censored anyone on this platform. We believe it's important for people to have integrity in their truth and their story and their message. That's primary. That's freedom. And we really appreciate that. And then on that topic of freedom, we believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. Those are some super valuable things. They're not the same thing. And everybody is affected by those differently. So this show definitely supports the chiropractic methods when it comes to medical freedom and family health freedom. And we also believe in least invasive first. I think that that's a big conversation topic that will actually perpetuate chiropractic into the future and it'll finally plant itself in its rightful stance within the world of chiropractic when it comes to being integrated with the medical world. Chiropractic has always been a standalone profession. And with that being said, we also support BJ Palmer's Sacred Trust. Those were his last words. If you want to find out more about chiropractic, go to your favorite search engine right now and find out what BJ Palmer's Sacred Trust is and what BJ Palmer's last words were. And you're going to love and understand chiropractic at a whole different level at that point. We also support subluxation-based chiropractic and innate intelligence and universal intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. And with that introduction, now my next introduction is to Dr. Holly. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, James, for having me. I'm really excited to hear my story today.
Yeah, the most valuable part of anyone, I was mentioning to you too, is I think it's their story. Like it's not what you own. It's not the things around you. It's you, and it's where you've come from, and it's the messages that you share with people and how you resonate with people. So, how did you get into chiropractic? And maybe you can share that with our audience today.
Absolutely. So, I believe in kind of just going with the flow, so to speak. I grew up in North Augusta, South Carolina. And my parents lived about 3 minutes from the Georgia border. And I went to college right there at home at USC-Aiken. And I ended up getting a BS in biology in college. I knew that I wanted to be somewhere within healthcare, but I just hadn't really picked the discipline yet. So once I got to about the middle of my senior year in college, I started to tour different programs there at the Medical College of Georgia. And it just wasn't for me. Everyone was just unhappy that nobody was smiling. It was always cold and dark and damp. And I mean, at that time, I drove a yellow convertible. And I'm like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. So I was sitting in the study room there at USC-Aiken one day, and there just happened to be a brochure on the table for Sherman College of Chiropractic. And I was like, well, this is neat. I'll give this a shot. I went and actually took a campus tour that following week, and immediately this resonated with me. Everyone was happy to be there. They were on fire about chiropractic and just about helping people. That was my entire reason for wanting to go into healthcare. I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. So that the rest is history from there. Now, the interesting part is I had never actually visited a chiropractor, or really didn't know anything about it before I attended Sherman College. So my very first chiropractic adjustment was there in the student health clinic at Sherman College. I often tell my staff now, just with everything that's happened with COVID and this patient treatment over the last 2 years, if I were working in a hospital, they'd have fired me a long time ago because I would have been way too vocal about we shouldn't do this. The patient is not number one. And I can't live that way. So with chiropractic, I'm able to cater directly to the patient. And that's what matters the most to me.
Yeah, I think there's a high level of congruency when it comes to taking care of people. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's really why most chiropractors get into the profession. It's because of the give, love, serve aspect of the profession. And that's the most beautiful thing to me about it is you can get people like better quality of life with just your hands.
Right here every day.
Yeah. Like I didn't tell you this offline, but me and my team have put together 2 documentaries on chiropractic over the past couple of years. And we're working on number 3 right now called Adjust the World. And wow. It's going to feature people doing mission trips. And yeah, and it's about taking care of people. You don't have to have money. You don't have to have health insurance. You don't even have to speak the same language. And it's going to show the power of chiropractic making an impact on the individual's lives and how like it transcends all cultures. And the adjustment's like the purest part of chiropractic. And that's really what most chiropractors want to deliver to their communities.
Absolutely. That is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I was just mentioning to you like some of the things that we've done or I've done or accomplished being in this profession. And I think that it does take a lot of influence to change the perception of the public's opinion of chiropractic. And a lot of people think that healthcare is insurance. It's not true.
No, it is the furthest thing from healthcare.
Mm-hmm. But they think that that's their benefits and they pay for that. So why doesn't it cover chiropractic? And then we have to like rewind and go forward and like go over the tape and like document and like pull things out and like establish like the messaging the right way for people to understand that chiropractic is what it is. And that there was this, conflict with the American Medical Association against chiropractic, trying to discredit and eliminate the profession. And we're still dealing with like the negative brand equity because of that agenda. And that's why today we still have to explain to people that chiropractic is good for you to do, just like going to the dentist.
Absolutely. It literally is just maintaining the body. And I tell patients all the time, you go to the dentist to maintain the teeth and the optometrist to maintain the eyes. The only difference is, your eyeballs aren't taking groceries out of the car. And your teeth hopefully are not lifting your children up. So we maintain the spine a little bit more because we require so much out of it. And, unfortunately, healthcare, chiropractic on one hand has been dealt a bad hand at times, but I know so many fantastic doctors that work their way around that constantly. And one of the best things that I have found is all you need is that one patient who doesn't have a health insurance coverage, or even the ones that do. And when they have that great experience, they tell everybody they know. And next thing you know, you're referral based.
Yeah. I was at this seminar in Colorado called Mile High. I went to the first one. I've been at all 10 of them, by the way. And the first one I went to, I was working in an office. I wasn't like
Mhm.
running a podcast. Wasn't making movies.
Mhm.
I wasn't like out doing the screening business that I was doing. I was there watching the speakers as office staff for the clinic I was working at. And I saw
Yes,
this guy up there named Joe Borio. I've told the story a lot, but Joe was up there on the stage and he was just like, he must have said it like 95 times, tell the story. And he said, just tell the story. So I just took it to my own volition to say, okay, cool. Eventually, I'm just going to tell the story. And
absolutely.
that's all I've been doing since that first day that I saw that dude up on stage, Joe
Mhm.
Borio saying, "Tell the story, tell the story, tell the story, tell the story." And I think that that's really why this show became successful, and it's helped a lot of people understand chiropractic better. Not only the professional struggles, but the path that a lot of practitioners go to become chiropractors.
Absolutely. And, and we don't all take the same route. I've had classmates that were third and fourth generation chiropractors, and then several of them were like me, had never had any experience whatsoever. And even, people that majored in finance and social studies. But if they have that fire, they get everything they need right in school and they take over the world.
Amen. So let's talk business a little bit. What are some things that you would maybe share with our chiropractic audience as to ways to do marketing to grow your practice or things that have helped you personally grow your office?
So, of course, I've done everything that every other doctor's done, health screenings and safety meetings at local, manufacturing plants. The best thing that has grown my practice is one, being genuine and treating our patients right. Um, and also being out in it's not always so much as setting up a table and doing a health screening, but sponsoring of the third grade class at the local elementary school and giving them pencils and erasers or coming to read stories, bringing the guys at the firehouse lunch and just talking about fire trucks and why you think you should be able to drive one. Getting out into the community and making connections with people. That's number one.
Mm.
And oftentimes, with different management companies, it's always recommended that you live within the community where you practice, which is totally okay. I actually live 30 minutes away from the community that I practice in. And even though on the weekends, I'll get out, I'll go over there. And during the week, we're out talking to people, we're getting to know local businesses and just being a staple in your community. And oftentimes that does mean being a help in the community. There's no point in working within a community and taking away from it if you're not giving back to it. So that's number one, giving back to where you are. If you give back to these people and love on them, it can't wait to lay on your table.
Yeah, I think, a big takeaway for me after what you just shared with us is um, keep showing up and
Mhm. Oh,
show up
yes,
show up for your community.
absolutely. And every year, and this is the last thing that we do, every year we do a Christmas extravaganza. So about 2 weeks before Christmas, we'll bring out the Blood Mobile. We have a pink fire truck that supports cancer research. We'll bring that out. We'll bring out the local animal shelter. We'll bring out dogs to adopt, and just bringing those members of the community together. Santa Claus comes. It's a complete storm, but it's a place where our community knows, hey, they're going to support us. This is safe here. So continuously showing up and being a part of where you are.
Yeah, over the past couple of years, I've really noticed because I still go out and do a ton of screenings. People are just they're looking for chiropractic. They just don't know it's called chiropractic, and more importantly, they're looking for community and they're looking
Yes.
for a safe place, like you said, and they're looking for people that can actually listen to them and acknowledge them and serve them, and that's customer service even has like diminished over the past couple of years. So when they get the chiropractic experience, chiropractors still have a high honor of taking care of people and making sure that they get
Mhm.
that Ritz-Carlton experience when they show up to a clinic. So I think that that's one of the things that sets chiropractic apart too, is they didn't lose their initiatives to create community. If anything,
Mhm.
they had the direct things to do, the things that were important, and they stuck to them. And that's why they survived through
Absolutely.
that downturn with everything that happened over the past couple of years. And I think that that's really what makes chiropractic unique, distinct, and helps it carry forward. Um,
Mhm.
so as we roll
I
down
completely
this,
agree.
as we roll down the interview together, let's talk some things that you do to stay healthy. What are you doing to take care of you as the practitioner?
So even though I'm active in my practice all day, I still have to make sure that one, I maintain my own spine. So I have one favorite chiropractor that I see the most. I love her dearly. But if she's not open, hey, I'll lay on just about anybody's table. Um, and making sure, simple things, enough water intake and enough rest. Um, we don't rest just as people anymore. We have developed this run, go, go, never, always busy persona. And that's not healthy. Taking time to simply just rest your body. And that's not always sleeping. Kicking your feet up on the sofa and petting your dog. That sort of rest.
Hmm.
And then of course putting good things in. Put into your body what you get out of it. So proper supplementation, the proper foods, and and happiness. Not taking life too seriously.
Mm.
If we are constantly bogged down with stress and worries, eventually that's going to cause failure of one of the 11 systems of the body. So taking a break and just letting it all relax. Those are all my key things there.
Yeah, I love it. One of the things I've done I think I've meditated almost every day for the past 4 years.
Mhm. Oh
And
yes.
I think that, there's Kobe Bryant, and one of the things he did in his Mamba method was he would meditate every day at least 10 minutes
Mhm. Absolutely.
before he did anything else in his day. And that helps establish your mindset. And when you're
Mm.
talking about rest, um, I'm in this program right now that I'm doing called 75 Hard. And a
Mm.
part of that is developing 10 minutes of visualization. And I
Yes.
think that if people just incorporated the pauses of their day and were able to just like really like be with themselves,
Yes.
we could be that much greater for everyone else. So
Absolutely.
I think the rest thing is like really important for people to like when they're listening to this episode, like check it out. Start your day with
Mhm.
some meditation, take a pause midday and do some visualization,
Mhm.
and break up with your cell phone for a little bit and read a book.
Absolutely. And don't feel like you have to document every single second of your day. Put
Yeah,
the phone down and just live. And sometimes living in the quiet, just having that moment of peace and silence is
yeah.
is so rejuvenating.
And then get adjusted, right? Get checked at least.
Absolutely.
Get your spine checked. You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by the Transact Card, Align Life, Brain Based Health Solutions, Chiro HD, Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, the IFCO, and 100% Chiropractic. Let's hustle at least weekly and make sure that you have full optimal health.
Yes, turn those lights on. Absolutely.
So let's talk a bit about the future. Uh, where do
Mhm.
you see chiropractic going? Maybe 2 years. Where do you see chiropractic going in say 10 years?
Oh, so many places, so many amazing places. Number one, I do feel like more of this will become more of a primary care provider, um, because so many patients are just disenfranchised with typical medical treatment right now. And unfortunately, like in areas where I live now here in the Greenville area, we are having such a great influx of just new people moving here that there's not enough medical practitioners to go around. So they are greatly seeking another source of healthcare. So that for sure within the 2 years, us becoming more of a primary care sort of provider. And we already have that source of patients that's who we are to them. But I think that we'll see a greater percentage of our patient base looking to us for primary care. Within the next 10 years, I see chiropractic in lights, so to speak. I think that we will get a lot more media attention and just a lot more just social exposure. And it will become a thing that everybody's aware of. I still find it so interesting that you know, out of all the new patients that I have every week, I still run into people that are maybe in their 50s and 60s and have either never been to a chiropractor and never thought that they had a reason for that. And I think that will reverse as we continue, and it will become a part of your household maintenance, such as going to the dentist, going to the eye doctor, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I agree with you on a lot of those topics. And I think that as we develop as a culture, we're
Mhm.
losing faith in the medical model that exists right now. And we're seeing the lack of trust within that
Mhm.
system. And people are, they're curious to find a solution to that.
Yes, absolutely.
The curiosity has peaked at an all-time high now for
Yeah.
for what they can do. And
Mhm.
really the practitioners in the other system,
Mhm.
they are more inclined to believe the chiropractic method nowadays. So
Yeah.
they're
Mhm.
they're they're saying, "Hey, white flag, I'm coming over and working with the chiropractors now because they're the ones that are doing things the right way and they've held their ground and I like what they're doing."
Mhm. Yes, and we thankfully do have some doctors that we know that have realized I can't fix this and I can't continuously keep giving this person a pill or a shot. And they have welcomed us into their circle. So I think that we will become much more mainstream.
Yeah, because I think people, back to the beginning of our show, medical freedom, family health freedom, people are going
Mhm.
to want to have solutions.
Absolutely.
And they're seeing things that they thought that were good for them being, put into their lives that
Mhm.
now they're second guessing everything. So
Yes,
I think that there's a huge chance for chiropractic to take its rightful place and becoming that primary port of entry for people that are looking for something because it is least invasive. And
absolutely.
we had Les Brown on our show. You know who that is?
Yes.
Yeah, so we interviewed Les Brown, and he said the thing I
Mhm.
love most about chiropractic is it doesn't cut it out, drug it out, or burn it out.
That's right. That is amazing. I love
You know,
that.
and that's just it, is like when you do something long enough the right way, it
Mhm.
attracts luminaries like that. And you
Yes.
get people to speak the truth about things that matter to them and their families. And they're just
Mhm.
like everybody else. They just want to be healthy. They want to have
Absolutely.
vitality. They want to have good solutions for their families and their next generation coming up.
And
So
just a better quality of life. Yes.
when you get a luminary like Les Brown talking about chiropractic, or Grant Cardone,
Mhm.
he's been on our show. He talked about chiropractic,
Yes.
and you get people with that type of clout saying what chiropractors need to do better. He always
Mhm.
Grant Cardone told me, best known beats best every day.
Yes.
So
Very
so so
mhm.
chiropractors just need to become best known and not give up.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So as I mentioned, a couple people that I think that can help the credibility of the
Mhm.
messaging of chiropractic. Who are some people that have had influence on you and maybe some of your heroes that have helped you get to where you are today?
So, I and this is, of course, rather cliche, but I mean, I would say my mother was my absolute best hero. She passed away in 2021. Her and my dad were married for 46 years, and
Mm,
she
amen.
was just an
Sorry.
amazing, amazing person in every sense of the word. And I don't even know if she realized this, but she kind of fostered a little bit of my help in healthcare, or just my interest in it. In her later years, she did a lot of CNA work, but before that, one of her first jobs was at a manufacturing plant. I believe it was Clearwater Finishing, and She would have been 71, 72 right now. So she grew up in a different time, in a very different world. And I just remember her telling a story of, she was one of the first African American women that they hired. And unfortunately, the other women did not want her to use their restroom. And, at that point, someone might have just walked off of the job for fear of being persecuted or hurt or just not belonging. But, she stuck it out and stayed the course. And I believe eventually became a supervisor for that company. So, I often tell people she's such an inspiration to me because she crawled so that I could walk, so that I could get to this position that I'm in now. And when she worked as, a home health care nurse, she walked a lot of people. And unfortunately, people that their family had kind of abandoned them. And if it weren't for her, they would have crossed over alone. So there's no one, she is my hero. There's no one. This was a fantastic example of strength and perseverance and resilience and just all of the above.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know my story about that too, but my mother, since we're on the topic of sharing mother stories, my mother was a nurse's aide, and she worked with Alzheimer's patients for 35 years.
Ooh.
And when I was a bad kid and I wasn't doing things the way, being a good kid, I'd have to go hang out with my mom at the Alzheimer's ward.
Oh, yes.
And I would get out of school as a teenager and I'd have to go hang out and see my mom take care of people. And her work didn't really like that because, I was there, watching her work and she had to like have me there. But my mom was a compassionate caregiver, and watching her work with people and seeing like the level of stress that people's lives were under that didn't have anybody come to look after them and kind of just forgotten about culture.
Yes.
They called my mom the hug lady, you
Oh,
know. And
yes.
I think that that's where I get a lot of my sentiment from, as being like an alpha male, but also being a compassionate guy. I
Absolutely.
learned a lot from being around my mom too, and seeing how she, um, really, she was an unsung hero, And I can see that same sentiment about your mother too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is just, it's such a thankless job at times. And, just to be that person that is there with someone until they cross over is just so profound. So your mother sounds like she was an amazing.
Oh yeah, she influenced me so much, and
Mhm.
there's that old saying is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that there's a lot that goes into who we become. It's
Mhm.
epigenetics. It's Bruce Lipton's work. You know,
Absolutely.
we're, as they say, a product of our environment.
Very much so. I mean, I'm who I am because of who she was. Just the absolute best person.
So let's transition into chiropractic. Who are some of the people that helped you get to where you are today through the chiropractic profession?
So actually, the very first doctor that introduced me to our state association, Dr. Gabe O'Sullivan, when I was a student, I was in student government, and he took us to the legislative breakfast. So that was like my first intro into kind of like the behind the scenes part of chiropractic. So I was super interested from there. Um, the doctor that I worked with, I have been at the same location, thankfully, since I graduated. I graduated June of 2011, and then I started with Dr. Catherine Haney in January of 2012. You don't know what you don't know until you realize that you don't know it. When we come out of school, we know how to palpate, how to find the segment, how to fix it. But Catherine Haney taught me how to be a doctor. And,
Mm.
having that level of support is just unparalleled. And I'm so thankful that I was able to walk into that sort of environment because so many of my colleagues had horrible experiences going from clinic to clinic with doctors that didn't really want them there and or just wanted to work them into the ground. And I truly walked into an established practice with a doctor who was slowly phasing into retirement who taught me everything that I needed. So I owe a great deal of my success to her as well.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
So we're almost at the edge of our conversation today on Chiro Hustle. Two
Mhm.
more questions. Would you mind sharing a miracle story that you've seen in your office over the past
Oh,
decade?
absolutely. It's been 11 years. And, of course, we've all seen the general miracle. Somebody walks in crippled and they walk out on their own two legs. So when I graduated and began in practice, I didn't really have a purpose yet. You know how some people are like, I want to be a personal injury chiropractor, or I want to do pediatrics or family. I mean, if you had a spine, I was fixing it. I really hadn't set a true path yet. But indirectly, I have had the opportunity to be a little bit of all of those. I do a great deal of personal injury, just haphazardly somehow. And in 2017, we had over 10 babies born in our practice that year, all from women that oftentimes could not conceive on their own. So many that we put their little pictures on the Christmas tree at Christmas time that year. But my number one story, this patient and I are about the same age, and she had been married for about 10, 11 years at the time that she started in care with me, and had gone through failed in vitro, failed just everything, could not conceive whatsoever. And she was kind of at her wit's end. She wanted to be a mom so bad, and just it was not happening. And I'll never forget, she was going through another round of in vitro. We were about 3 months into her care. And she came in and she was like, I need to tell you, just so that you're aware, I'm pregnant, but I already feel like I'm miscarried. And and I told her, no, maybe this is the one this time. Oh, we're not gonna cry today. Oh, we're not gonna cry today. And that one was the one. And out of all of the babies that I've had born, he's my better health baby. He can do no wrong in my eyes, because his mom, to be able to fulfill a dream like that for someone, there is no better, just anything in the world. And then the second time, she actually ended up getting pregnant. Accident. No in vitro, no nothing. She just walked in one day and was like, "You not pregnant?" I was like, "Better health babies." So I have several better health babies, but that particular situation was so dear to me. To be able to grant another woman the gift of a lifetime, that's it. That's all I need. I'm done.
So I'm going to tell you, from the perspective of, people say there's a bun in the oven.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. If you can't turn the heat on, the oven
Ooh,
don't work.
yes. Oh, I'm using that. I love it. I'm stealing that one. Oh my goodness, yes.
So
And I'll tell you,
chiropractic
the
chiropractic.
knob to the oven is the sacrum. You can
Yep.
adjust that sacrum. Oh, I love that.
So the adjustment turns the heat on, and
Yes,
then the oven works.
absolutely.
Pretty
And then
cool.
sometimes you're cooking something and don't even realize it's in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's the miracle of life and the miracle of
yes.
chiropractic. And that's why I asked
Oh,
that story, because there are miracle stories that touch lives. And
yes.
um, just like BJ Palmer said, you never know how far reaching something as you may do or say today will have an impact on millions of lives tomorrow. That little
Absolutely.
boy might become the next chiropractor, like a Jedi.
I hope so. And they're just, my better health babies. I love all of them, but he's just my special one.
Yeah, for sure. So last question.
Mhm.
If you're the last chiropractor on planet Earth, would the profession survive?
Absolutely. I'd be tired, but absolutely. We treat everybody fairly, adjust as many as we can, and just keep loving on people.
Amen. Amen.
And
So if people
I'll train some more. We bring some people in.
so,
Mm.
well, I really appreciate you spending some time with me today on episode 534. Is there
Absolutely.
anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Really, no, you covered all of the bases, all the key things that, I wanted to share. Just keep adjusting, keep healing, and keep changing the world.
Amen. And if people want to connect with you, where can we send them to?
So probably the best way to reach reach me via Instagram. It's Dr. Holly Clarke Williams on Instagram. And then I'm on Facebook under the same name. So, or either through my clinic website, which is Better Health Chiropractic.
Better Health Chiropractic. All right. Well, if you guys want to get in touch with Dr. Holly, go to betterhealthchiropractic.com or check her
So
out.
it's actually betterhealth-chiropractic.com.
Betterhealth-chiropractic.com and check her out on Instagram. And Dr. Holly, appreciate you spending some time with me and talking all things chiropractic today.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. This was wonderful.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun too. And with that being said, I close out by telling everyone, you're just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. And have a good night now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.